Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. Today I have another guest from Lasting Mark and the Life Insurance Academy podcast. Welcome, Zach McElwin.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on here. You've seen all the stuff you do. I'm just excited to give value. The thing I love about you, Dana, is you align with us in so many different ways. And I've been told that we train very similar, which is really cool.
I have been told that as well. I'm basically the female version of Zach. So I expect to have a bobblehead on the Life Insurance Academy someday soon.
Absolutely. I actually talked to Adam about that. Those are pretty cool.
So I wanted to bring you on today because I think that a lot of what you are strong in is representative of a lot of areas of weakness that a lot of agents find themselves in, which is their finances and
Yes.
really understanding how to run the life insurance industry as a business. You posted a video about I actually don't know how several years ago. You posted a video 3 years ago called "How to Make $1,000 a Day Selling Life Insurance." It blew up, and it was all about this topic. And for those watching this, I'll post a link to that video in the description below. But we're going to bring that topic back to life today because there's a lot of people that have not seen your videos from 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I don't know the last time I watched that video but I do get comments or messages on it from time to time, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest topics, Dana, that is not talked about enough when it comes to final expense sales or somebody joining the life insurance industry. We all hear about the potential of money that we can make, which is very true. We all see the opportunity and dreams we're able to accomplish, which is 100% true. But it's not always talked enough about the struggles that we face, the struggles to actually earn a commission, but more so the struggles of being successful when you are earning commissions. What do you do with the money? How does it actually flow to you? What happens when you get abundance of it? What should you do with it? Does your life change immediately? And nobody has coached or trained these agents on how to manage those expectations and what to do. And that becomes very difficult for people.
I love that. I'm so excited to dive deep into this topic. I was listening to a couple podcasts over the weekend of agent success stories. And I'm
Mhm.
I'm a consumer of content as much as I am a publisher of content. And a consistent theme that I heard early on in these agents' careers is they would make a bunch of money, commissions would hit their account because a lot of them
Mhm.
are being paid on issue instead of payment, the first payment. And then they would take off like 3 or 4 days, right? Spend the money,
Yes.
come back to nothing. And then they're in this constant cycle of making money, spending money, losing
Mhm.
money. That actually surprised me. Like, I never even considered the fact that people would work, make a few $1,000s, and then think it's time to take a break. Like, that actually is a new concept for me. Do you see that? And how do you,
All
how,
the time. I've, when I was in the field, which is almost 11 years ago when I very first started knocking on doors and bloodying my knuckles. But it was in final expense. And this was a new concept for me as well. Because looking at, just to confirm that, like, I didn't come from a family of a money. I didn't, I was the first, me and my brother were the first ones to ever go to college in our entire family line. I worked 3 jobs, putting myself through college, paying that tuition, graduated debt free, and moved right into life insurance. And left all three of those very small guaranteed incomes, but moved all that into 100% commission opportunity in insurance. And while doing that, as I started to build and grow my team there, I had really close friends of mine that I've developed from working with them, working side by side with them, that would do that very thing. They're really good at what they do, but they're almost too smart to where they would hit certain levels of sales, which translate to certain levels of commissions, and then they would really just take their foot off the gas for a period of time, really until that nest egg of money they've built up dwindled down some until they needed to turn the gas on again, right? And then it would build up and it would be that fluctuation. And I never really could understand why that happened until I realized that there was different mental thresholds that we had to overcome with our own personal finances in order to hit a whole nother level.
And where do you think that starts? So an agent comes in, they're watching this video, they say that is me. Like I could see myself making some money and then taking off until I don't have it and then come back and do it again. It's like this vicious cycle. So where does someone begin to start recognizing that they need to make a change and what is their first step?
Well, number one, moving, it's you first have to understand what this opportunity actually is. And it is so much more than just fast cash or I can make a lot of money quick. This is a career opportunity. This isn't really, some people call it the best side hustle in the world, but this is the best main career in the world, and I'm sure you would probably agree with me on that. And people have to see it for what it is. They have to understand that yes, we're in sales, but we're actually this is the really the only type of sale that we can do or we can be a part of where we're helping somebody and we're changing lives, not just for them, but for the generations that follow them and being able to see that we can make an impact on families and everybody we serve while we are impacting our family, which is beautiful. So when we understand how perfect this opportunity is, we can't take that for granted. The other thing we have to think about is the reason we're actually looking for this job, the reason we're looking for this career change is because something is not working. Something feels like we're limiting us. Maybe we're not reaching our potential. Maybe we feel that we're meant to be at a different level or in a different opportunity than the one we're stuck in now. But we can't forget we're surviving right now. And the whole idea about behind managing these finances is, and we did a whole coaching series on Life Insurance Academy, a whole coaching course on this called Launchpad to Success. And the whole idea behind this is if we can stay humble, but we can also be really hungry and we can chase this opportunity, but limiting ourselves when it comes to managing our finances, then we can actually build something that is stable, right? Um, like Dana, you've built successful teams. You've helped so many different agents. How many agents do you talk to that just seem to struggle with that financial pressure?
A lot, I mean, most of them.
Most of them, right? And so if we diagnosed where that comes from, right, we don't want any agent to have to use what they call commission breath or be a pressure sell, or we don't even want somebody calling on the phone and saying, I need to get a sell today, or I have to do this, I got to pay a bill, I got to eat. This is all creates this financial pressure, and it's on a ticking time bomb for new agents. And
Yeah.
people don't realize that. So you have two forces going against each other. One is I'm nervous. This is a new thing for me. I've never done insurance, but I think I'm capable. I'm a part of Dana's team and she's teaching me everything. But there's almost this delay and procrastination because of their own nerves and fear of failure. On the other side of that, they have pressure coming from the other way that their bills or their financial situation is coming next month, and whatever they have saved or whatever they've put aside for this transition, that creates a pressure chamber and a time clock. And so we have to figure out a way, how can we buy ourselves more time to become good at insurance?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
in life insurance and what we do, um, that's all it is. I believe everybody can be successful in selling life insurance. Everybody, if they had the right amount of time.
Okay, so I'm just putting myself in the position of people that are looking at this from I have a full-time job.
Mhm.
I don't have the time to see if this is going to work. Do you think this business, you just said you think this business, everybody could do it, but do you really think this business is for everyone?
It can be, but the answer is no, it's not, right? It's for those people that are willing to make those sacrifices, right? It's for those people that are willing to move into this. And it takes a little something that is going to make it work. For an example, you had Chris Ball on one of your shows recently, and he's one of the best friends in the world to me. He's my business partner. We've been together. We've been through everything together. But like his story is pretty crazy, right? Like he had to it was that tough period and that in the housing market crisis around that 2008 2009 he got laid off from the church where he was working. They had to short sell a home. He was working at a roofing company just trying to make ends meet because his life got flipped upside down. Gets the opportunity for insurance. He actually started part-time.
Right.
But the difference was his part-time in insurance was more than most agents today's full-time of activity and effort.
Mhm.
And he and his family together had to figure out a way to make it work. So he was able to make it. Mine was different. I started full-time from the beginning, but I left three other jobs to do that. So I had a certain desperate, I had threw myself in the fire. And even in both of our situations, there was a kind of a refuse to lose attitude, along with we had people depending on us. And I think so many people want to just dip their toe in the water and they want to put the minimum amount of investment when it comes to time, effort, and money, and then to see if it could work full time. And it doesn't operate like that.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that sometimes people watch these videos and they say, well, you had it easier because you started, when insurance was different and it wasn't as competitive. And so let's just take away all of that and put ourselves post-COVID, post-housing crash,
Hmm.
telesales primarily dominant. Um, what do you think an agent needs to have in their bank account right now so that they can feel comfortable going all in? Let's start there since this is a finance topic, and then we'll kind of break it down.
Yeah, and that's a great way to frame this. And I don't know we haven't even dove into the finance side of that, but the video is always there to watch. I would say it depends on what they're doing. If we're looking at a typical final expense agent now, that is moving into this, and you're saying they're making a transition from a different career into this.
I would say that's probably going to be the most common situation. Yeah. So I'm trying to take the majority, not the one-offs. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think most people who find insurance are struggling at another career or they feel stuck at a job
Hmm.
and they're afraid to make the jump into not just a new career selling something new, but also possibly someone coming from a W-2 to 1099.
Yeah,
Let's also assume, because not everybody has crazy top producer 1% goals, right? Let's
right.
also make an assumption that they would be totally happy for the first 6 months making 5,000 a month.
Hmm. And that is very realistic for people because if you look at who we're talking about, a lot of those people are probably making that or less now what they're doing.
Correct.
I would
Right.
say there's more to it than that. So if I'm painting that scenario and if I'm talking to a brand new agent saying, okay, in order for you to be a success and make this transition, this is what you need, right?
Mhm.
Number one, they need a great mentor, right? If they don't have a mentor, they should probably reach out to you. Um, that is because you need somebody like I'm a lead by example guy. Like
Yeah.
you need somebody that's been there, that's in the trenches, that's done what you're trying to do, and they can follow the pathway you've created for them. It's going to be so much easier for them to be successful. When it comes to that finance portion, we need to figure out what's the minimum amount of money that we as a family need to have to survive? Not thrive, not go out to dinner, not do all of this. If we're talking about a career change, and by the way, if we're successful in this career change, and we really establish ourselves, it's probably going to take us 12 to 18 months to really turn the corner and be established, but the rest of our life is set forever. If they understand that, all you have to do is give everything you can for 18 months and then you're set forever. And the mindset is that skill, that comfortability that fear of 1099 to be able to make money, that's not going to go away. You have that confidence, you have that belief. But right now, we need to figure out because most agents, Dana, right now, they fail within their first 90 days.
Right. I do
But the
see.
people that make it 12 months to 18 months stay forever and have a different life. So we're trying to buy time. So, A, we need a good mentor. B, we need to make sure our family, our spouse, our kids, they understand that we're now on the same page. They need to understand what this opportunity is. That's not said enough. They need to understand the sacrifice and time and effort and energy and money that it's going to take so they're on the same page. That is a million times important. Then we need to figure out what is the minimum budget we can operate on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis to take care of all of our bills. Okay.
And then
That
you see like what is left over.
yeah, like then we see what is left over. Okay, now we need to figure out okay, in order for me to get up and running, what am I going to need to do? Well, I'm going to need to be onboarded. I'm going to need to be contracted. I'm going to need to be trained. I'm going to want to listen to dial days and really get um, connected with the team and training, which, by the way, there's so much training you can do on the side and in this other gaps of time that we have that doesn't require you leaving your other job. We just have to commit to working two full-time jobs, even though we're not getting paid for insurance because we're training. We need to commit to that now.
Yeah.
Then we start to say, okay, based upon the style of insurance I'm going to sell, maybe it's telesales. How many leads do I need to be successful? A huge issue. Most new agents, they look at it as I want to buy the smallest number of leads possible for me to make a profit.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Right.
And
Why,
they don't
why doesn't
consider
that work, Zach? That's important. Don't just skip over that part.
Uh, because if my first week in the business, I'm going to be a lot worse than my 10th week, right? I'm not going to understand. I'm not going to be able to close at the same level. I'm not going to be able to connect at the same level. Heck, there's going to be policies that the clients want, but I just fumble it because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Half the times, new agents have never even been through an e-app by the time they're trying to write their first e-app.
Which is
It,
crazy to me, but so
yeah,
true.
I'm like, yeah, it really is. So most people don't understand what it takes. So the expectations is huge, but that finances, if I'm saying, okay, um, my mentor, and this is the simplest thing in the world, follow your mentors. My mentor says I need 100 leads a week. Okay, well, that's what I need. Well, how many weeks do I need to buy 100 leads before I'm at least breaking even or making a profit? To be honest, you should probably break even in your first week of buying 100 leads. I don't see how you couldn't.
Right.
I mean, we have brand new agents that's never sold a thing that comes to our Life Insurance Academy boot camp, never sold a thing in their life, and they make a profit on their first set of leads because we have coaching and mentors right there with them.
Right.
But let's just say, how much are 100 leads going to cost us? How many weeks do I want to make sure that if which never happens. If I write a complete goose egg in week one, I'm buying a full batch of leads in week two, and I'm working every one to the bone. If I have another goose egg in week two, I'm buying a full batch of leads, regardless of my results, in week three. And I say we need to do that for at least 4 weeks.
Okay.
At least 4 weeks, right? That can give you a really good idea of how much money you need for that, right?
Depending on how much your leads cost.
Correct. What's your lead source, what you're doing, and again, your mentor and your style of sell and the technology you're using, all of that can kind of come into play to figure out exactly what that is. But the activity and the investment does not change.
Right.
And then that continues to buy your time, and then we're reinvesting in that over and over and over again.
Okay. So then, all right, you just gave me a good framework for what I should be expecting in the first 4 weeks as far as my output and my activity. Now agents are getting commissions.
Yes.
What do they do with the money?
Well, you let it go right into your bank account and you leave it there. No, seriously. This is where because our fear, all we do as new agents transitioning, what if I don't make any? What if I don't make a sale? oh, did you already buy leads for next week? We'll see how I do this week. It's the wrong mindset,
Right.
right? This is a 4 week training investment. I almost wish they could buy 4 weeks ahead of time, 4 weeks worth of leads ahead of time. Because if they were buying them anyways, even after a goose egg, it's a forcing function for them to go and learn, and they're pulled into being successful.
Yeah.
Um, but once that commission starts coming, once your leads cost you, let's say $1,000, 1,200 bucks, but you deposit 5 grand that week. The next week you deposit 3 grand. The next week you deposit 7 grand. When that money starts coming in and we're starting to get some traction as an agent and becoming successful, we need to create stability. The one thing that drives people crazy, the one thing that gives people anxiety is the fear of the unknown or being feeling unstable or uncertain, or we don't know when something is going to happen. We want to control the controllables. So the concept here is when we know how much money we need to make on a weekly basis or a monthly basis,
Mhm.
either one, we know how much money we can pay ourselves. So what I used to do, and this was each and every single week, regardless of what I sold, I paid myself $1,000 a week. That was it. $1,000 a week. Now, at the time, I'm coming out of college. I don't have a lot of expenses, right? I don't have that sounds a little crazy now, but I didn't have my kids. I didn't have any of this other stuff. I lived very simple and I paid myself $1,000 a week. And the way I did that, if I pay myself $1,000 a week, $700 is going to my personal checking. $300 is going into my tax savings account because I'm a 1099 agent.
Right.
So, and I didn't mention this before, but for everything I do, and this is in our course, I set up a business checking account and a business tax savings, and then I have a personal checking account and a personal savings. So everything flows in to my business checking account,
Mhm.
and then when I pay myself, that's when I tax myself, right? So
Right.
300 goes to the tax account, 700 goes to my um, regular business account. If I make 5 grand that week, I'm not paying myself 5,000 and keep moving it. I'm paying myself the very minimum. What that allows me to do, it allows me to stay hungry, allows me to stay humble, allows me to know my bills are getting paid, but there's so much about insurance that I don't know. There's so much things that could happen that I'm not sure of. If I'm brand new and I'm still a month in, Dana, I'm still on borrowed belief and I'm still on borrowed confidence. That's why we deal with agents that sometimes feel like they're on top of the world and they're going to sell the same amount as they did of their record week, week in and week out forever.
Right.
And then the very next week, they feel like they couldn't sell ice to an Eskimo, right?
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so I'm following you along, I'm tracking. You,
Mhm.
let's say you get a $5,000 in your account, you take 1,000 of that, 700 goes into your personal account for your salary, 300 goes into your tax account to pay
Right.
taxes at the end of the year. Are you setting anything aside for chargebacks?
Yes and no. So let's extrapolate this out a little longer, right? And your number could be 2,000 a week, whatever it is that you have to pay yourself. It would be 1,400 here and 600 there, whatever that is.
Okay,
Um, but if we make 5 grand that week, that rest of that money, Dana, is chilling. It's staying in the business checking account, right? The
correct.
next week and the next week and the next week and so on. So my bills are getting paid. But one thing we know for sure, if we have extra money in our checking account that we don't need, what do we do with that?
Reinvest.
We spend it typically. We
Yeah.
go out to dinner, we buy things we don't need. But if it's in our business account, we typically don't do anything. So the mindset this does for us, before we know it, and this is where it comes those agent thresholds. Before we know it, an agent has $10,000 sitting in their business checking account. For a lot of new agents, that's more money than they've had in there ever before,
Right.
right? Now we creep up to 25, which is the next threshold. Typically, this is where you see agents once they have 25,000 in there, they have money set aside for taxes and they're still just paying themselves that same amount of money. This is where agents start to take their foot off the gas and they go, I'm good, I'm protected, look at all this money I have here, and they become lazy or dismotivated.
Stagnant.
But what this does for us mentally, Dana, is I know if I go tear my knee playing in this men's league basketball, right? And I can't go out and work or whatever happens in my life, somebody gets sick and I need to be there for them. If I get sick, I have 25 weeks worth of guaranteed salary. 25 weeks, right? Whatever that salary is. If it's 2000 a week, I have 3 months worth of guaranteed insurance salary regardless if I sell or not.
Right.
What that does for an agent, it unlocks all kinds of possibilities because they know they have lead investment money to reinvest regardless of results. And they know I'm going to sell something in the next 3 months. If I have leads every week, I'm going to sell something for the next 3 months. That creates a stability for us. It relieves the anxiety, it relieves the pressure. And now I know I have lead money and I know I'm going to have results. And it's so much different. You can sell when you don't have to sell, but you can't sell when you have to sell. Um, and that changes everything mentally for an agent to become successful.
Okay, so I'm tracking with how to know how much to invest the first
Mhm.
4 weeks, how to pay yourself, and account for taxes as money starts coming in,
Yep.
how to recognize when you're starting to feel stagnant. So how does an agent know when it's time for them to take their business to the next level and start sharing the business with other people and bringing on agents?
That's a great question. I think that depends on a lot of personal experience, belief or confidence in themselves. Also, that depends on a lot of the system they're involved in. If they believe in their mentor, if they believe in their system, if they believe in um, the pathway that's laid out for them, I recommend doing that as early as possible. Because in a system like that, everything is turnkey. You can invite somebody in and you can actually grow and learn it together at the same time because you're just following the same path and the same recipe that's successful for so many others.
Mhm.
If you're going into a system or a group, or let's say lack of system, and you're kind of paving your way and figuring it out, for some people, the hesitation would be they're depending on me, their family's depending on me, but I don't even have confidence that I can even do it. And I don't have confidence that a mentor can help us both do it. Um, so that would cause some hesitation.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say every personality is different. I waited a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I just waited a few months. But in that few months, um, I did everything I could to become the number one producer. I tried to outwork everybody. I outstudied everybody. I out hustled everybody. I made more dials, knocked on more leads. I got more no's, more doors slammed in my face. Spent more time learning the applications. I learned the e-apps front and back. I really became obsessed with that because I knew the type of leader that I wanted to be was a lead by example person, and I wanted to help everybody to the best of my ability. Um, I would say one of my biggest strengths is being able to break things down in a very simple way for clients, but also for my agents on my team. So I wanted to almost trailblaze, figure it out, find a more efficient way of doing it, and then give them the easiest way possible. Um, that was always my goal in doing that because I didn't want to lead somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Okay. And then, so did that, this is getting a little off finances, so I do want to get back, but did that sort of lead you to create a duplicatable process where you weren't always the person that had to be the one of all the giving of the answers? Like, how did that shift for you from being the one that knows everything, how to simplify everything, has all the answers, to you not producing anymore, running a successful IMO, and now like there's a lot of pieces in there. Like
It
how
is,
do
yes.
you go from being that point person, the lead by example, I have all the answers, to then just running a successful company?
Being able to balance what is the repeatable stuff? What is the things that it seems like every day I'm saying over and over and over again? How am I able to provide a baseline of knowledge, training, or success that they can follow? And then I just come in with touch points, pointing back to trainings or videos, pointing back to situations. And you do an unbelievable job of this, Dana. I know we think so much alike, but creating the objections and rebuttals, a full sheet that you have for everybody on your team, like that's incredible. Like that's exactly the types of stuff. If you run into this situation, here's multiple ways you can handle it. This is what worked for me. Practice and prepare and study for that. And by doing that, if you're doing a training on objections, a lot of people already have that baseline knowledge.
Right.
So being able to create tools and resources for agents that are motivated and excited to reference. And now we start focusing more on getting to know them as an individual person, figuring out what makes them tick, figuring out what they want in life, helping them accomplish that by pointing them to the tools and resources and holding the mirror in front of them of what they say they want to accomplish.
Right.
That changes from you're the one figuring it out and building the resources and then continuing to establish that.
Now, going back to the finance side, what do you think, or what have you seen gets agents in the most trouble? What bankrupts agents, because most of them are going to say,
Yes.
I ran out of money, and I can't afford it anymore. And then also, what can take a team down? Because there's a lot of chatter in there too, like roll up debt, and are the
Yeah.
leaders not managing their finances correctly? And what's missing on that standpoint that causes financial crumble?
Those are really, really good questions. First and foremost, the things that can really affect the agent is um, we need to stop being so emotional as agents.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. So when I think of a new agent, I think of a little kid on the swing set for the first time, right? And they are swinging. Their highs are as high as you can imagine. And then their lows, when they're going backwards, all they see is they're about to face plant on the ground,
Mhm.
right? And that becomes that uncertainty and that lack of stability, for which is why I recommend everybody at any level, even agency owners, paying themselves a salary, whatever that amount needs to be. And obviously, if our account is outpacing what we're paying ourselves at a drastic level, we can increase our salary. We can be smart enough to do that. But what that does is when you talk about a new agent, one of the number one things they do is their activity and their spending habits are based upon their emotions of how they feel about that week.
Right.
If they had a really good week, they got really good deposits, they tend to go have some steak dinners in the weekend. They tend to um, start buying these fancy clothes or shoes or whatever they wanted. They start attending these high ticket items, sporting or concert events, which I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that. I'm saying it just may not be the right timing yet. A couple major things that personally happened to, not me, but members of my team is having some good weeks in a row and going out and buying a new car,
Mm.
going out and buying two new cars for the same person, right? Within the first 3 months of the business. Those car payments are typically, um, you know,
Years.
yeah, years, right? And we've been selling for, 3 months. Um, that's not the best idea. So the biggest one is don't go pay off debt. A lot of agents, they get a little money in their business account. They want to go write off that $10,000 debt that they had or that 5 grand they owe somebody here. But what they don't understand is all of that money they have now is not their money. It's borrowed money.
Right.
It's advanced commissions that the insurance company is allowing us to hold um, in until that client has kept that policy on the books for a certain amount of period, which is going to be a 9-month period. So we feel that we're so good at our jobs that we earned all this commission. And the truth is, we have not earned that commission.
Right.
So, what happens when we take money that's not ours and pay off a debt? And if we haven't earned that commission, that means there could be these chargebacks that come. Well, we can't pay back that chargeback money if we've already spent it on the debt. And agents become very desperate, very fast, and they don't know what to do because any new commissions they earn now or policies that they sell now, they're actually not going to receive that money into their bank account because it's going to go against their negative debt balance that they have with the carriers. And now they can't pay their bills, their monthly bills that they have to, and they waller out of the business.
Okay. Yeah.
By having that, paying yourself a salary, staying humble, just enough to survive, building up that business account. If you have a chargeback or a series of chargeback, it's not an issue at all. You can stroke the check, or you can allow it to come out of your commissions directly from the carrier, but it's not going to affect you at all because you're paying yourself that same salary regardless of your sales results because it's there to be paid for. So you don't have to worry about any chargebacks anymore.
Exactly. That's so smart.
Another huge point, Dana, that a lot of agents don't realize is if we're advanced 75%, which is equal of 9 months worth of commissions, we have months 10, 11, 12, which is going to be back end money.
Right.
So after we've been in the business for 10 months, we start to receive that back end money. But what agents don't realize is we also receive the advanced on any new business that we get. So for the first time forever, we get a 25% raise just for staying in the business for 9 months.
Right. I
Our
love it.
income boosts immediately right then, which helps drastically.
Yeah, I guess that's why they say if you can survive the first year in the business, you have a much higher chance of making it because now you're getting that commission raise by getting your pay through on your first 9 months and
Yep,
your advance on what you write moving forward, and everything just increases. And then you get to year two and you start getting some renewals,
absolutely.
right? You get a pay raise again.
Absolutely. But you also have a newfound confidence and belief. And I always tell people, if you're going to start this, you have to commit to a year. I
Yeah.
don't care what happens. I don't care how hard you have to struggle. You need to prepare for that, right? Commit to a year. And then at the year, the question isn't, do I want to do this or not? The question is, if I started year one over with the knowledge and experience that I have right now, how different could year one have been? And then everybody's like, a lot different. Well, that's how we're starting year two. And then it becomes easy. A switch flips and you hit a whole nother level.
But I guess arguably, if people watch stuff like this, they could theoretically set up their year one for much stronger success
Hmm.
and not have to say it. Maybe they look back and there's only small things they would tweak, not their entire year of what they earned and what they saved. I definitely think if more people ran their business like a business, paid themselves a reasonable salary, which I'll be the first to admit I didn't do that in my first year. But I think that would have been a really smart thing for me to do. So then I could turn around and start teaching that to my agents, and they might have had some more success.
Right.
I really appreciate this conversation. Is there anything else that you want to add in regards to finances that this community needs to know?
Um, just be smart with your money, be smart with your spending. Don't pay off debt, number one. Don't buy anything big in the first year. We don't need to. Get a really good mentor, somebody you can talk to, like Dana. That way they can guide you on the do's and don'ts for you to have longevity and just the success that you deserve and that you need. That's really the main focus. And just get around really good people that care, that don't just preach um, just buy all the leads in the world and sell as much as you can because their income is only their income's based upon the amount you sell, not the your profitability. So get with somebody that cares about the individual agent profitability and not just their override.
That's huge. And I don't know if an agent who's coming in that doesn't know what they don't know has the bandwidth or ability to recognize that early on.
Yeah,
I guess that's part of the learning process that goes into not just
it
knowing
is.
a successful agent, but knowing what is the right fit for you. And that just, I guess, comes with some experience.
That's absolutely right. And I'll tell you one thing, if they have been following you, if they have been on your channel, they should be able to understand the differences in character and morals and the intentions and just the pure I guess joy you get from watching people win and that you genuinely really want to help people and that's what I love about you and Shell the most is who you are as people. And I think everybody knows that, your community knows that, and they can feel the difference in that.
Thank you for saying that. If you guys want to learn more about Zach and follow him, he's on the Life Insurance Academy podcast on YouTube. Of course, as a strategic partner of Lasting Mark, you can book a call to the Meet the Partners. And if you want more information on how to join Empower Life Group, all my contact information is in the description below. Thank you so much for being here, Zach.
Thank you for having me.